What's up, everybody? I'm Ethan with Fight Me on This.
I'm Jill at CoachJill.April.
And welcome back to the podcast. We have a uniquely special guest, a rather big part of my life, and, big part of this mission, really. His name is Jesse Lipscombe. Here he is. Jesse, introduce yourself. Tell the people where they can find you, and then we'll chat.
Right. Hey, hi, I'm Jesse Lipscombe. If you want to look for me, pretty easy to find. But socially, at The Lipscombe is where you'll find most of my things. Or you can do a deep dive in Google and find a whole bunch of lies and truths about this guy right here.
Figure out which is which.
Yeah, that's your job.
Yeah, in Google.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you which one's not real. My net worth, don't believe that. Don't believe that.
In your personal opinion.
Yeah, that is not true. I wish. Okay, but anyways.
No shit. I wish. No shit. Welcome to the show, Jesse. It's great to have you. Jesse, I've known for a while. Almost 10 years now.
More than.
I've been hearing about Jesse for
It's
a long
got to be
time.
more now, right?
More than 10 years, for sure. I closed the fitness studio.
Oh, you're right. That's why. That was before that, too.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah. It's over a decade, brother.
Wild. What a time. Yeah, Jesse's been a big part of my story. Jill's been hearing lots about Jesse over the years. And it's an honor to have you on our show. We always start the show off with a hard, something that was difficult to navigate in the week, something that brought an unexpected challenge, or just something that was difficult. We like to remind people that everybody is still, in fact, fucking human being. So what was your hard this week, Jesse?
I'd say my hard this week was, so I'm currently is not currently because this is a podcast. So pre-Christmas, I'm doing a musical in Vancouver called Reflections on Crooked Walking. And it's
there's the title. I couldn't remember it.
I had to Google it last week. I was like, quick, I'll look it up.
And it's a remount, meaning we did it last year. But this year we have a new musical director, a new choreographer, and like some new staging and stuff. All that being said, that's very exciting. But we've had some difficulties with the cast and our music director in general. And myself and Megan, who is the co-star, were kind of like mom and dad on the set. So we had to have a little, meeting because folks were very frustrated with how things were going. And kind of the worst thing you can do is be adversarial when you're trying to have a team. And our live band and the cast needs to be very cohesive. And so there had been some, different instances where they didn't feel heard and felt disrespected. And then other times where you're left out on stage and a music cue doesn't come and you have to basically make it up as you go because it's live theater. And that stuff's not typically what you see in professional theater. And so folks were pretty frustrated. There's lots of tears, lots of anger. And obviously it's difficult because as actors, we're super raw, emotional, often insecure, needy human beings that validation is pretty key. Kind of what we do. We do something, we want you to laugh, we want you to cry, we want you to clap and tell us that we did okay. And so given that you have a room full of these individuals, emotions can get pretty high. But I think the hard thing was to not fall into that because it's so easy to, when someone vents, to say, yeah, absolutely, you're right. And here's another thing that's bad. Here's another thing that's bad. But one of the things that I reminded everybody after I did my own fair share of that is, it's Christmas time, whatever that means to somebody, but it is like we got a week left of this show. What can we do to have our problem solved, but at the same time still enjoy ourselves and try and bridge this gap that's existed beforehand? I let them know a couple of things that some of our bandmates were going through personally. And it kind of just reminded folks that we're all humans. You know what I mean? Like and just because we haven't mentioned it to you doesn't mean we're not going through some stuff. So just to give people a little bit more grace and, not hold someone to whatever their worst deed was in the last 3 weeks as a reflection of who they actually are as human beings. So we walked into the next one with a little bit more love, had some discussions, and it was marginally better, but attitude-wise, it was way better. So it was a difficult conversation, but a much needed one. And a reminder to myself, always, people are not a sum of their worst activities in general.
Yeah, very fair. And a reminder for everybody, I think, over here, like, holy shit.
Yeah.
That's
And
just
like
what I
you
mean,
said,
like,
it's so easy to be like,
yeah,
and another thing,
Yeah.
Yeah.
even though that's not always helpful.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
to pump the brakes and be like, oh, I'm just gonna make this worse. For like I want to, I do, I have shit to say,
Yeah, I
but it
mean,
doesn't always have to
also
get said.
on that too, like I know a lot of folks are like venting is a healthy, or you can vent to me. I don't know, maybe an unpopular opinion. Not a giant fan of venting. In general, like it's not the idea. The idea on its surface is like, let me get these feelings out. But usually that's not what happens. Usually it's like you get them out and then they become stronger. And infused with other people's like, you're right, and this, and of course, and all it does is just like add to whatever it was.
I'd argue that like you're right, but I think that's countered by who's holding the space and why.
100%.
Yeah, I would
Because for
say like,
someone like me, I set the space with, oh, you come vent, please God vent. I'll meet you in anger. But what do you need?
Yeah.
Do you need me just to hear you, or do you need me to go back and forth? Because like if it's unbridled, I'm gonna tell you. But I need you to know what you want, because it's not my job to fucking change the fact that you're venting. You could please vent. That's what I offered you. But let me know what you need from me so I can set the expectation in the space, because I'm not gonna push you further into your holy shit moment. But I also don't have to agree with you with what you're saying.
Yeah, I think I agree. I
I
think it's kind of like injuries. Like you
Mm,
have chronic and acute. If it's an acute injury, vent about it right
yeah,
now, right? Because it's real,
and
it's
get it out of
happening,
the
it's an
way.
emotion you have. But if it's a chronic vent and a thing that I'm like, what rehab have you done? Like, don't
Yeah,
tell me
yeah,
that.
like that. But
Yeah,
that's the difference in like, can I challenge you on it if
yeah,
I think you're not seeing your shit? Because like, you're probably right. You're allowed to feel it. It set you off,
yeah,
but I know when I get set off, it's for sure not what the fuck just happened.
yeah,
I know that
yeah.
enough.
Yeah, the majority of folks, I would say, my level of space and the type of space I hold depends on the
Mm-hmm.
frequency of the
Self
yeah,
awareness.
and the frequency of that similar vent that you've given me. And I think that's probably why it's
Yeah,
probably why less
fair.
people come to me and vent, because I know if you come to me to vent,
you're like, I've heard this before.
you
I'm
already
not
know I'm
doing
coming with it
this.
afterwards. Like you can answer,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Listen, this space comes with a response.
that's right,
I
that's right.
don't give a shit. Oh, you can hang up. I'll fucking voicemail you
Yeah,
and get it
yeah,
twisted.
yeah. Oh yeah, that was my hard for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah. How about you, Joe?
Uh, my heart was business related. I had a call last week, and it's not often that somebody makes me defend my business, and like I'm willing to do it. But obviously, like as a business owner, I have my pricing, I have my coaching. It is what it is. I'm very affordable in the health and fitness world. And had a consultation call with somebody, got their whole life story, did the whole thing, told them my pricing for what they were looking for, and they led with, that's not in my budget. Cool, fine. Everybody's budget is different. That's fine. And then proceeded to tell me why it wasn't in their budget by telling me like the price of medication they pay for and how much they pay for rent. And I was like, yeah, cool. I totally understand everyone has different budgets. And then ended it with, well, I don't know how anyone's affording your coaching. And I was like, right. I'm going to end this call here
yeah,
before you make me defend my business and then we have a problem. And I was like, yeah, I would encourage you to look at like where the other pricing is at in the health and fitness space. And I totally understand that everyone's budget is different, but like I also got bills to pay. And for the service I provide, like your coaches are charging double, triple what I charge for half the coaching. And it was very much met with a still like, well, I don't know how anyone's affording that. I don't know how you have any clients. And I was like, great.
and yet,
I'm going to go this way.
And yet the next fucking day,
yeah,
2 people signed as new clients. So it was just like, I came down the stairs mad because I was like, it's one thing to be like, yeah, it's not in my budget. It's another thing to like attack somebody's like business and make them question or try to make them question their whole structure. And I was like, oh, it's been a minute since somebody's made me have to defend what I do and why I do it. So just like reminding myself that it's not worth it.
yeah.
And I don't need somebody being like, I had a consultation call with Jill and she ripped my head off. So being able to just like end the call and leave was more important, but still a moment of like, I'm also a human, that my whole livelihood is invested into my business. So
You know,
making me have to defend it is never easy.
you know what's funny about that? Like I'm listening, and I just went back to my studio owning days.
So did I. The first thought I had was all of that heat, even when I was there.
Yo, yeah, because that's just for fun. I'm just gonna pretend. I'm like, hey,
Okay.
so she said to you, he asked you a question of how do your other clients afford it. She actually asked for a solution on how to afford it when I heard that. And so this is role play. This is role play. So I would have asked her a couple of questions. I would have been like, you know what, you're absolutely right. And I would have changed the subject and been like, hey, so what shows are you watching right now? What are your favorite shows? And she would have maybe she mentions Shrinking on Apple TV, or maybe she mentions another thing on Netflix or another show on Disney, right? So as soon as she does that, I'm like, okay, $15 a month, $30 a month, $25 a month. And I'm like, I'd be writing these down. And then I'm like, oh, cool. Like, are you Starbucks or a Tim Hortons kind of person? What's your favorite? It's like, oh, my favorite is the Starbucks. Da, da, da. Okay, cool. So that's $9. So you go weekly, daily. All of a sudden, I'm like, oh, so you're wondering how other clients afford it. Well, I mean, right now, what you've done is you've put a higher priority on binge watching television and coffee than your own life and fitness. I mean, and what my clients have done is they actually put themselves first. And it's totally up to you. I understand that not everybody thinks that their life and living a healthy life is as important. Other people like coffee and watching TV shows. So I leave it up to them. And I would have left her with one of those.
See, I came down the stairs and I was like, I can poke holes in everything because like people also forget.
Hey, baby,
love,
you need a space to vent? I got time because I know this will be good.
It's also like with love, people forget that they tell me their whole life story before I tell them my coaching.
I love it.
So I've already done the math of how you can actually afford this. So I was sitting there being like, you have a blue collar fiance that works out of town.
Yeah.
I actually am not convinced you can afford this, but
and
that's
for the
fine.
record, this is for our listeners. This is what we are trained to do as trainers. But we are trained as business owners to know what you are wasting your money on instead of taking care of yourself. Like, this isn't like we're trying to, no, we're showing you something stupid. I was burning through thousands of dollars in alcohol before I gave up drinking. Not because I was spending money, but because I fucking hate it.
Yeah.
I hate the way it makes me feel. Hate the white people that drink. Most people that drink, but really white people get me fucked up. Thousands of dollars drinking. Wild. I didn't realize I actually had money. I didn't realize I had an ability to not be living paycheck to paycheck. Yeah. Just over a genuine idea that I needed to fit in a society and I like sports.
Yeah.
Well, now I'm better at the sports. I actually have better people in my life, and I don't ever get well, I don't get hangovers anyways, but weed's better anyways. Kiss my ass. You know what I mean? Like we do it for ourselves, and then we learn how to do it better for you guys because you are in fact treating yourself worse for coffee.
Yeah, you're right. And okay, so now outside of the industry, I like this. You picked the right choice. Don't do it because she already told you what kind of client she'd be.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? Like it's twofold. Like before I'm like, sell. But now I'm like, no, like ensure that your client load reflects like the life you want to train. So I'm here for that. Ethan, what's your heart?
That's what I said.
Podcast. I'll shut up.
No, this is fun. I said, if this has to be two pieces, it has to be two pieces. I know it would get into and you and me get like, no. Not at all. What were you going to say, though?
No.
No? Okay. My heart is trauma related. The other morning, I woke up perfectly fine. Here's a trigger warning because I'm going to get into it. Sexual trauma is wild. It just is. And I've done a ton of work and a ton of healing, a lot of fascinating work to be able to do what I do in this life. In my personal life, as a professional dominant, whatever the fuck I can do with my body. Still hunting for landmines. And one of the most uncomfortable ones to navigate is when you're being intimate with people. And that you hit a landmine, and like nothing bad, like just like all of a sudden, I'm not even in my bedroom anymore. Yeah. I'm nowhere bad. I'm just not there. I can't feel anything. I lose all feeling in my body. It's the most surreal. Like I don't know how else to explain it, but it's also I know that there's a dark shadow behind it, and then I know what's behind that dark shadow. It's something that happened to me when I was a child, long before I could conceive of what it was. It's like this mix of knowing it's really horrible, but enough to know that I won't ever probably find it. There's just this thing that happens. I've been able to uncover every other piece of this thing, but when it happens, it just does. And the most uncomfortable part is to know it's because of what happened to me. And then I got to sit in that as I recover. Like it shocks my physical being. It's like I just played football, like in 32-degree heat and was laying wood all day.
Yeah.
And then mentally and emotionally couple the exhaustion of time traveling back and forth. it drains the shit out of me. So I spend a few days tired. I don't sleep again. Sleeping's hard when you come out of sleep that way. You don't want to sleep anymore. You know the thing. Food becomes hard because I don't want to eat. I don't. It's hard because I'm fighting so much. So the hards are just, this time of year brings up lots of these moments where it's a little bit like throwing a grenade at landmines instead of hunting for them with hammers. It's wild, but we're here. We're fine. We're moving forward, and it's just been work.
Yeah, it's wild, right? Because the brain doesn't really care about like actual time. You know what I mean? Like when something is triggered, it's right there at the moment it happened. Like we've spent time, but your brain's not like, no, it just puts you back in a situation, which is so wild. It's also really cool, like knowing that, but it is wild when
it's cool
when
because
hits
it makes
nowhere.
it easy to differentiate once like the way I try to describe it to people is like you see this, those mosaics as they slowly undo, and you're like, you're trying to guess it as fast as you can. Like that's what CPTSD navigation's like.
Yeah.
Like I have this horrific picture as what it starts as, but I mean that's not the thing. And the more I look at it, the more I realize that's not it, and it starts to blend away and it goes away. But I have to keep looking. If I look away because it hurts or because it's uncomfortable or because I don't want to remember, it stops doing, and in fact starts to go back to the ugly. So I have to keep looking. I have to keep going.
You said CBT. Right? Your folks know cognitive behavior therapy?
Huh?
You said CBT, like cognitive
CPTSD.
Oh, yeah, got you. Sorry, I thought you said CBT.
Yeah, no. When you said that, I was like, no, but that's
yeah. I mean, right? I mean, it's like I know all. Yeah, of course, that's my shit.
Yeah, no, and so like it's like staring at this mosaic, and the more I stare, the more I work, the more I try to figure out what it is, the more it actually like uncovers, and then finally it's like, that's me. Yeah. I'm good there, and I can put that shit down. But until then, it's a draining as fuck fight.
Yeah.
So that's my heart this week. Jesse.
Yeah.
Joy.
I'm ready. What's the good part now?
Yeah, what's something that you brought you joy, lit you up? Something that was fucking sweet, a huge win.
Man, like I'm not searching because I don't have it. I'm searching because it's every day, all the time. Like the whole life is just filled with wonderful little moments of love that I'm so grateful for. Let me think. Actually, I had one yesterday. This is one. There's one. Okay, so yesterday, back at the theater, we were just talking, and somebody. It's even weird talking about it because it's so weird because it doesn't happen often. So we were talking, and someone mentioned, "Hey, Jesse, I was talking to my husband about you yesterday," and they said all these like nice things about me. And then someone else chimed in and said, "Yeah," and they said nice things, and a third person did it in a row. And like I can't even like say them
in a row.
It feels weird to say them back what they said because I'm like, who says that? Like no one. People don't say nice things about me to me. Like I hear about people saying nice things about me late, like someone, but they said it to me. I didn't even know what to do with it. I was like,
do you ever? What do you do with it? I freeze. I sit something like this. I'm like,
yeah. I was like,
this is just. I can't get any smaller than I'm trying to get right now. But thank you for all of the fire in my being.
Yeah, but what was really cool about it, it was like when somebody says something about you that's not, it's like not what you're intending to put out there, and it's like that doesn't feel like me. But everything they said felt like what I try to put out, and it was such a cool thing. So
confirmation.
That was neat. That was neat.
Affirmation, confirmation.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
like I think
both of the last two.
Both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And on that, I'm a big fan of, I have something nice to think about someone, then it's theirs. So I will text them, I will tell them. But I can't remember a time where it's come back like 3 in a row. It was so cool. Anyways, that was it.
If you didn't notice, there's another neurospicy human over there that turns into a child.
He's like, me? You're saying that about me?
Yeah, yep. That's what happened. Yeah.
How about you, Joe?
You can do your joy first.
My joy?
Yeah.
I didn't think that far ahead. I got to heart. I knew heart was there. I had one. I haven't ready. This is a good thing I can edit.
I don't know what I did this week.
I don't know. We've been hella busy this week. I'll share a joy that I got to share yesterday, which was fun. I'm on my way out of this gym this week. bittersweet for so many fucking reasons. We can get into that once I'm gone. uh, I had to make a decision. You know me, nigga. I was gonna leave loud. I thought about it. I really did. I really wanted to, but I think I'm just gonna leave. But yesterday, I'd been saying to this one dude who I can see really wants to ask for a spot, but won't. It's just like he's got to be 5, 6, 7, 8 years younger than me. But I was like, yo, like I know you want to go, like just go ask. I'll come help. So yesterday, he finally said he helped me spot me on this thing. First, it was like $2.95. I didn't even touch the bar. Didn't need to help him, nothing. It was fine. Crush it. And then he asked, can I go 3 plates? And in my brain, I'm that dude. I'm like, yes, absolutely. Like, what do you know? Yes. Not even trying to feed that doubt. You've already told yourself no. That's why you asked me. I'm like, yes. He's like, really? I'm like, bro, it's 20 pounds. You blew that off your chest. Like, and I'm here. The worst case is I got to take it from you. Man smashes it. Absolutely smashes it. And I could tell by the way he got up and looked, he had no clue he was going to do that. He didn't think he had that because his face stayed shocked the whole time. And I got to share, one of my final moments with another kid in the gym. Just a cool moment, just being a part of something that he got to do and showed himself how great he was in that moment. And it was fucking, I live for those moments as a person, as a trainer.
I mean, isn't that
So
the
to get to
coolest
share
thing in
that.
general? Like you
Yeah.
did very little except for gave someone space.
That's it. It's so small, man. Like it's like you can.
Yeah.
I know you
That's
can.
it.
You just got to know. I'm here. And I'm here.
And isn't
I live it.
that the thing that so many of us missed as kids? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like that idea
Yeah.
of you can. What do you, really? Yeah, of course you can. Like that alone.
And even if you don't, you're gonna learn.
Yeah.
So that you can. Like you don't.
Yeah, and if you can't, I got you.
Mhm.
Right? That's all a spot is. I believe you can, but if you can't, I got you, and we'll try again.
Yeah.
That alone,
For whatever
opens
reason.
so many doors. Yeah, I know.
Yeah. It's I love it.
It's always funny in those moments how little goes such a long way. Like even
Oh yeah, I
when
guess Joe's there.
my client was in the gym a couple weeks ago with us, and she was like pushing a sled, dragging a sled. I don't remember.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like really heavy until I walked up and literally like touched it with one finger on either side, and then all of a sudden it was moving. And she's like, "You helped me." I'm like, "I didn't do shit," but like your brain saw me touch that and was like, all of a sudden it's not heavy anymore.
Well, yeah, you did help her. You showed up.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I'm like, I just will like touch it with one finger. She's like, "You pushed it." I'm like, "With my pointer fingers."
With my obviously huge muscly arms.
I just walked with you. It's fine, but
I like that you call them pointer fingers.
What else are they?
Index.
Oh, index. You're right. Sorry. Tism just accepted it.
Like, but you point with them.
Like you're not.
Yeah, no, you do. You're absolutely right. Yeah.
Except for don't point. Gesture.
Oh, I had a joy. Where did it go? Come back.
Oh wait, that wasn't even your joy. You have another. I love that. No,
that was a tangent off.
Okay, yeah.
I got to go for coffee with my best friend on Saturday morning, which like I think there's fewer things greater in this life than like just getting to sit and yap with one of your best friends. And like we were in a public coffee shop and you wouldn't have known. There's one point where I looked up, I'm like, the people in this coffee shop are probably like, are they okay? But it was like one of those conversations where you forget the rest of the world exists. And it was like 2 hours of chatting.
Cool.
And then at some point both of us looked up and we're like, we should probably go home. But it was just nice. And not a friend I get to see face to face very often.
Yeah.
So yeah, just nice to sit and chat and forget the world exists. People probably learned some things about me in that coffee shop, but
that's what I love about coffees. And this is how much the whole place gets to hear how weird we are.
Yeah, they probably had some questions, but
yeah,
that's okay.
It's a good time. Yeah, Jesse, thank you for joining us. We would love it if you would tell the people who you actually are. What do you do outside of acting? Jesse, oh God. I realize I get my TISM hat wearing from Jesse. Because I try to do the people like you do a lot of shit. I'm like, yeah, I just like to stay busy. But then I look at Jesse, I'm like, the only person I know that really does a whole bunch of hat wearing more than me is Jesse. So, hats, Jesse, Lipscombe with the knee.
Yeah. So
the floor is yours.
There's been different versions of how I would explain what I do over my life.
Yes.
One of the longest lasting would be a professional passion follower. And then a term I learned in the last 4 years, it was a term called polymath. And the reason I use that word is because folks used to say, "You're a jack of all trades, aren't you?" And they say it in a way that's supposed to be a compliment. But I think of a deck of cards and I'm like, there's a queen, a king, and an ace. So you're saying I'm like okay at a bunch of shit, and I like to be great at a bunch of shit. And a polymath is someone who, excels in many different fields that don't have to necessarily be related. And then me as a professional passion follower, I like those fields to be things that fuel me, that I absolutely love. For some folks, they're hobbies and side gigs. But for me, I'm like, why can't they be just my gigs? This is what I do for a living. So that being said, I do spend majority of my time doing the things that I absolutely love. The idea of if I were retired, what would I do with my day? It's the things I do today anyway, so not a lot would change. I'm a
I
writer.
don't think that you don't seem a retirer person. I gotta interject. You said retirement. I'm like, Jesse's gonna die making a paycheck. It's gonna be wild.
Well, yes,
Like,
I feel like I
because you
retired.
just do so much.
I feel like I retired right around when I graduated from university. But not retired and like I stopped doing things. Like folks say, when I retire, I'm gonna pick up painting and learn an instrument and blah blah blah, all those things. So those became the things that I wanted to do forever. And so I'm a writer. So I write screenplays. I'm an author. I write books. I'm a singer. So I record music as well as sing live in bands and on stage in musicals. I am a film and television actor and producer. I also do a lot of speaking, whether it's motivational speaking or DEI speaking or working with companies so they can perform better in whatever field that they want to perform better in. And I paint and basically lots of stuff. Oh, question.
I have a question. What's DEI speaking?
Oh yeah, that's like diversity, equity, inclusivity. Even though the world says that they don't care about that anymore online, truth is they do. So I still do a lot of work there. And when I say what kind of work does that look like, oftentimes it would be just within companies, helping them make different hiring decisions, possibly, or looking at how their company makeup currently is, and is it something that's in a utilitarian way, like the best for the most, not just the best for the usual. So different things like that and different strategies where all of the voices can be heard and we can learn how to elevate and support other people who often haven't been. It's funny, it's almost just like spotting, right? Like how do we give space and support to individuals so they know they can thrive? And if you've walked the path, show them the path, help them walk it, or help them create their own paths in that kind of way. So that's kind of what that world looks like. Most of them are kind of intersect anyway. Like whether you're doing motivational speaking, DEI speaking, or business leadership, time management, all of it starts with like self-love and belief, and then being able to mirror that to folks as the simplest way of boiling that down. So yeah, I spend a good chunk of my stuff under an umbrella of art and creation. And then I'm a parent, and I love karaoke and poker and ping pong and bowling.
If there's one thing I knew about Jesse first, it was karaoke.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I do love me some karaoke. Yeah.
Yeah. It's lots of karaoke.
Okay, let's talk about karaoke for a quick second. Because karaoke, a lot of folks are like, I don't want to karaoke, which isn't true most of the time. What they're saying is they're embarrassed and they don't want to make a fool of themselves. But of course they like singing, and I don't care if you're listening, you're like, I don't like singing. You're wrong. You're a liar. What happened was you were a baby and you used to sing along, or you sang to something, someone told you it didn't sound good, or you decided it didn't sound good. And then now you've taken that as your new identity, but it was the thing that brought you joy. Just like birds sing and babies coo and cry. That's what we do. We make music. So that's not true. You do love it. Second part, karaoke community, because a lot of professional singers don't like to go karaoke. They're like, I don't want to do that. They want everything to be perfect, right? Because like you've rehearsed and you know what your tracks are. And so this idea of an imperfect performance, also a beauty of karaoke. Like I love being able to be okay with said imperfections. And then also the community of karaoke, most of them don't care because they're waiting for their turn. So they're not even, and if you sound bad, that's fine. They're like, great, I'll sound better. If you sound good, they're like, amazing. It was like a free concert. There's like no losing in it. And everyone's so supportive. And it's a great place just to realize that A, you're not that important. And B, you can have fun doing shit you're not great at. And you might get better at it in the meantime. I love me some karaoke.
Yeah, I am the person that doesn't do it because, okay, this is going to be so fucked up. I used to go to church as a kid, and then everybody's supposed to sing. And then somebody in my family told me one time that I shouldn't sing at church because I was bad at it. So,
Yeah.
like, yep.
Let me guess.
Ruined that for me a long time.
I'm going to take a wild guess. That person who told you doesn't sing in the church and they're bad singers.
Probably. And nobody in my family's good at singing, so I'm not really sure how I got determined as the worst at singing.
No, you didn't. You got determined as a person who was doing it and they wish they were. And there's only two options there. Either they decide to do it and get over their insecurities, or they bring you back down so you don't do it and they can feel better about their inaction.
Well, they succeeded. One day I'll sing.
Whoa!
I don't participate in karaoke.
Whoa!
I don't participate in karaoke.
You said
I sing.
one day.
Yeah.
That's not even a day on the. That's not even a day on the calendar. Show me. I know Monday and Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. No, one day's not on it, so that's the day that won't exist. So let's change that to which day will you karaoke? And I'll be there in Edmonton on the 1st to the 6th. So why don't we just pick a day in the new year to say, no, they didn't win. They didn't succeed. They don't get that power. And I'm going to go have a good time with some friends karaokeing. Which one's the best for you between those days?
I'm not busy any of those days.
Okay, can you pick one in your calendar and put it in there right now so we can move on?
I should have said nothing.
The moment you
I should have lived in my little world of not singing.
Yeah, but the little kid inside you wanted to say something because it wanted to play.
You're right.
And it just needed someone to spot you. Hey, I got you. And if you fall, no big deal. We'll try again.
Great. Well, whenever you're here, I'm free that whole weekend.
Okay, I'll put it in. I'll let you know. Give me 2 seconds. So January 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, looks like January 3rd.
Perfect.
Hey, funny. I already have it in the calendar. Mimi's karaoke. That's wild. Okay, we're going to Mimi's. That's amazing.
Great. Can't wait. Next topic. Go ahead.
Enjoy.
You're just living through this.
I'm just sitting here chilling with my best friend.
One day. How dare you?
Yeah. In the last episode, I had mentioned I was asked how I got started on this mission, how I got started sharing my story and doing what I do. And a big piece of my story is Jesse. It is a big part of mentoring me and taking me under his wing and, helping me through some lessons, helping me not have to learn a few on my own, help me avoid some altogether. But also just being a big part of the voice that I never had, the voice that always said I could do the thing. A big part of why I can and why I believe I can and why I get to do these things with my body and lost 100 pounds and didn't quit is because Jesse reframed and reshaped a voice in my head that told me I couldn't from an exterior perspective. And then I was able to do the work interiorly and do what I've done in the last 5 years, not just with my body, but with my business, with my mission and the other things. And Jesse being who he is, like I somehow beat Jesse to a book. Which was fucking wild. But Jesse is also sitting here as an author outside of writing screenplays, a full-fledged author with a book coming out right away in the new year, which is why he's busy. But Jesse, tell us about, your work. If you want to share what it was like to, navigate life with me in it as my mentor, give us what the last, holy fuck.
You sure?
We'll say 8 years because it's been that long for mission anyways. 2018 is when I started speaking.
You want me to talk about what it's been like mentoring you? Legit?
Why not? This is what the podcast is for.
Yeah, okay, great. Okay, well, first off, I will say this.
Holy fuck.
First thing I'll say is I appreciate that nod, but more than anything, what I felt I did is hold a mirror up to you like a proper mirror. You know what I mean? Not the mirrors that we look at, like the funhouse mirrors. Often we look in the mirror and it's all distorted based on all the things that have happened to us. But I was like, let me just show you this mirror. And I remember the first time I can think of it, outside of the fitness world, it happened when the speech when we went to you came with me to one of my speeches in St. Albert. And then
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
and we were talking about what it's going to look like for you afterwards. And it was like, it's so very clear to me what you could be doing, had the ability to do, and if you just so chose to, yeah, of course you can. I remember that was the first chunk, because it was like also a time where I was seeing you outside of the like, we had a friendship, but just watching your growth of what you wanted to do. So if anything, I'll say, yeah, I held a mirror up, and then you just got, you maybe took a look at yourself in a different way than you might have beforehand, and you did all of that work, which is great. Now, the second piece, what's it been like working with Ethan? Lord have mercy. This dude is the most stubborn human being in the world. And here's what happens. He gets more stubborn the closer you get to the truth. Like the closer you get to the shit that is actually happening. And if Ethan decides he's not ready to talk about said truth in that moment, then it is like fortress. It's like walls. And if you don't necessarily have the tools or X-ray vision to see through them, it could probably be a little disarming to a lot of folks. Like I said, I had that mirror, so I know I know him. So like I'm like, can you move that fake ass wall and that Lego wall and that? We're not doing that. Let's just do this.
Yo, the Lego wall was fun to build.
Yeah, well, fair. You're good at building them rapidly.
That's speed.
But the cool part is
kills, bro.
Ethan has so many tells, and that's what helps me be his friend. And those walls are super tells. They're not tells of get away. They're tells of last time I felt like this, I wasn't safe. And so I need some safety and I need love in this moment. It's not actually go the other way. It's actually, would you mind showing me that you are willing to move these bricks and walls so that I can then continue where I was before I was inadvertently triggered by something I didn't know was going to come and I threw these walls at you? Yes. So for me, I like that in a sense, because once you learn someone and understand who they are, you can care better for who they are. So I've had a great time working with you, brother. It's also given me lots of insight on like different levels of care for people that I love. So that's pretty cool. So the book, it's my second book. The first book, I think the catalyst for that was Ethan's first book. So when I set up that little challenge for you to write that book over the pandemic, and then you did it, and I'm like,
tough.
Why? Shoot, I guess I should write. I want to write a book. So then I wrote a book right after that. But then the second book was, I got a book deal with HarperCollins, which was really cool. And this book is called The Art of Doing, a guide to getting unstuck, getting motivated, and getting stuff done. It's half memoirs, autobiography, and the other half is, tips and tools and like workbooks on how to, if you ever wanted to destroy that feeling that you couldn't karaoke and thought, hey, I'm going to do it January 3rd at Mimi's Karaoke. Like, it's ways to do that. And put things in your actual schedule, make them become realities. All those little things that we put on the shelves, or massive things that we thought weren't for us. The book ideally lets you know that, like, the dreams and life you've always wanted are way closer than you think, and gives you a real tangible step-by-step guide on how to do it, while also watching and reading about how I did and how I failed and how I didn't fail and what steps I took. It was neat because I deconstructed my life and looked at what worked, what didn't, and then regurgitated that into ideally a fun read and a time to learn. So that book comes out January 7th. Who knows when this comes out, but maybe they coincide.
It'll be close. We're hoping that week, if not the week before. I had a fun time getting to read through it as Jesse navigated creating it and rehearing some stories, hearing more in depth tellings of stories that I got brief. Like, I've been in Jesse's life very close to him for a very long time. But getting to hear some of these stories and see them in print and get to know that the world's going to get to laugh and smile and, shed a tear and experience, some of Jesse's journey is really, it's very fucking cool feeling. But to know that it's going to have the desired effect, like it's going to do exactly what you want it to. I know that already.
I hope
so. We're excited to.
I hope so.
We're excited to promote it and to help push this as far as we can. Like, it really is my story is the art of doing, Like because I can was the mantra I developed over losing weight, and the weight loss, but also doing the healing and believing Jay and trusting that process. This is, understanding that I can't isn't real. I can't is other people. I can't is a false voice. And when I meet I can't, it's something that I got to challenge in myself still to this day. The art of doing, is the reason that there's Grit to Grace, is the reason that there's this podcast. We've been talking about a podcast and me doing one for years. And here we be.
Like, isn't it wild though? Like it's so,
yeah.
It's just like, it's the same theory that we were talking about again. It's the spotting, right? Like it's, yeah, you can, and yeah, you should. And I'm here for you. Right. Like, but it's the answers literally exist in you. It's for sure. Anything that's saying not that isn't yours. It's not yours.
Yeah.
Right. There's no. You might say I can't, and the truth might be I don't want to. That's okay. Right. You can though. Right.
But then say I don't want to.
Yeah. Or say I don't
because I can't sticks.
Yeah.
I can't sticks.
Yeah.
It's not real though.
No.
If you don't want to, fucking sick. I am glad that you don't want to.
Yeah.
But then say that.
Because
you tell me you can't, and I immediately don't believe you.
Yeah.
That's also been a big shift of like, even for me with not attending plans, even though that might sound different, but like I used to have to think I had an excuse for everything, especially with my family. I'd be like, oh, I can't come because of this, and just being like, yeah, I don't want to, changes a lot, and also helps, in my opinion, with like the confidence behind it of like, no, I could, but I don't want to.
Yeah. And then the next layer is asking yourself, why don't you want to? Right? Because some of your reasons for not wanting to might not be healthy, and you should anyway. Right? And other ones are good. Right? But like leaving it at I don't want to all the time, the first thing that popped in my mind is folks who struggle with depression. I don't want to doesn't mean you shouldn't all the time, right? You know what I mean? Or folks who like, I don't want to because I might not do well at it. Like, let's talk about why we don't want to. But I think knowing the want or not, we know can't goes in the recycle bin. No, fuck, not the recycle bin, in the trash. I don't recycle. I can't. Don't even bring it out again.
It's not coming back.
Yeah. Here's the thing. You just made the TISM analogy. It should be in the garbage, but we've already recycled cans.
Yeah.
Someone else was like,
yeah.
And we were like, that's already recycled. That's already been reused. Somebody passed that because it fucking happened to them.
Yeah.
That shit didn't come from them. I talk about imposter syndrome this way all the time. And we talked about this when I wrote the book. Like, that can't be me. I would never talk to me that way. As a child wouldn't talk to themselves. We learn how to do that. Imposter syndrome is someone else. It sounds like me. It's been so long. Now I can't decipher the two. But it's an imposter. I'm not. It is.
Yeah. In my book, I label it your representative as well.
Yeah.
Right. Like and both those things those lines can get skewed at times. Like this person that I show up to this podcast as, sometimes for some folks might be a different person that shows up to their friend's house, and and all of these representatives. And soon, I'm like, I kind of want to get rid of all of them and just be the full fat, whole milk Jesse Lipscombe, all sugar, deal with what it is. That doesn't mean I'm an asshole on purpose, but it might mean I am to some folks. I knew that one hit proper.
But go ahead. As a something to further with Jesse though, it's the way Jesse chooses to do this life. It bleeds out not just through me. Like, Jesse has this effect on a lot of people. And it's contagious enough that we want to replicate it. And that's something that I've noticed, even in Sean as he navigates life as acting in Vancouver and going through and like watching him grow the way he has, being around you and seeing the similarities. Like it affects so many circles. Like Jill said, like she's heard about you and heard about you and heard about you, but I am a big part of who I am today because Jesse's had the influence in my life. And that's how I choose to do it. I've learned a lot of shit in this life. I suffered for lots of it. I bled for most of it. Some of it was gifted to me. Lots of it by Jesse. So who the fuck am I to hold on to it? Like I want to give that back. The because I can, the not believing can't. Like those come from a space Jesse once held for me. Holds for me today, but like really had to invest time in holding for me till I could do it for myself. And it just like it's one of those things. Like if you have been around Jesse, if you've been around me, you've been around Jesse. I'll say it that way.
Yeah. I remember from the first time we dated, I was like, "How does this man do 8 billion things?" And then I met Jesse, and I was like, "Oh, that makes more sense."
Right? Because like once I believed I could, once I believed that it was healthy and I could figure out how to make this stuff work, like that was seeing it in real time with Jesse, but also Jesse being like, yeah, but you have to put your initials on it. Like, do what I'm doing, but it's not going to work that way. So be prepared to lose some shit and gain some over here.
Yeah.
And then the one thing I will never forget, Jesse said to me, he's like, I may be 10 years older than you, but you are 10 years ahead of where I was.
Right.
And you got to go. And that's something that I think I will always keep with me, is like, no matter when I want to quit, like, I don't think that I'm where I should be, but I know I'm far fucking further than I ever could have been. And like, now where do I get to go?
Yeah.
Now I get to be excited with, okay, what's on the other side of leaning? I'm leaning into modeling like I never thought I would. I told you I didn't want to be a model 5 years ago. I told you I didn't want to act. I still got to get on that one. No, we'll talk about that later. But like, I'm modeling. Like,
well, let's speak about that for a quick sec, because you brought up Sean. This is fun because when this comes out, this will make tons of sense. So yeah, so Sean, I'm sure you've mentioned it before, a good friend of both of ours. What happened? Oh,
the dog is whining.
Oh, I thought you were like, yo, it's time for you to leave.
Nope.
He's like, yo, I've been working on this whole dominant thing. Yo, go.
No. I flex my dominant way different. But that's fucking hilarious.
But so Sean, I've been talking to Sean about, like, dude, you got to do theater or do musicals, and he's always like, I'm scared to do that. I don't want to do it. I'm like, enough of that. We're gonna figure it out. We sat on my couch. I'm like, let's find an audition for you. So we found the last audition that was like an actual paid show that's happening in the next 3 months for Casablanca. I'm like, email them right now. So he emails them. Then he gets an audition. And then they have audition. He's like, dude, I don't think I want to go. It's too far. I think I'm just saying that to myself. But like, go, stop it. Go to the audition.
Don't make me.
Yeah, like you. What do you think? You're going to be you're going to be happy that you didn't go? Or yeah, so he goes to the audition. Then 2 days ago, dude booked a part. He's got his first role on stage in Casablanca in Vancouver.
That's so good.
Yeah, obviously we got to come for opening. I think it's in March.
That's so fucking
it's so cool. I can't wait to be proud of him, man. That's so cool. I can't wait to watch him on stage. It's gonna be amazing.
That's so I'm tickled to learn that he crushed it.
Yeah,
I know.
But like,
he crushes them all.
He crushes
them all. He really does.
Hey, do you want a spot?
It was always for Sean. It was always going to be the one. Like,
yeah.
And like, he took the classes and he's been loving that shit and whatever the fuck he's been spending and investing time in himself and a ton of energy into it. And fucking wild, man. Congratulations.
I mean, you go where you're pointed, right?
Yeah.
You go where you're pointed. So if you're pointed in, I can't and I won't. That's where you'll be. If you're pointed in, I want to be. None of it. Here's another thing I say in my book. It's simple, but it's not easy. Right? Like, it's simple. That's what I got to do. But there's work.
You and I have had that conversation probably 3 million times.
Yeah. You still do the stuff, but it is simple.
Well, like how many people know that, like, you want to do the thing, like, you don't see the hours invested. Yeah. Jesse and I have spent like 20-hour stints back to back days, whether it was editing, shooting content, brainstorming, readings, like just days when we had to cram and weeks and push, and like, it takes the holy fuck work. Simple.
Yeah.
If you just fucking go. But you gotta go.
Absolutely. Yeah. I agree, man. Movement, momentum, then it's on and popping.
Yeah, man.
But what I mean, it's so much parallels. I love that. Sports, fitness, it's easy to not train, and it's hard to get going. It's also hard to stop once you start, right? Like, it's just always getting over whatever those things are. Sometimes you just got to force that inertia, and then it gets better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Jill just the dog was panicking for the bathroom. Apparently, she's just almost back inside here. Did you have any questions for Jill and I?
I mean, I didn't have any prepared, but look at that. Boom.
That's why I was like, you're going to go back to the text and be like, yeah.
You did ask. No, you did ask, but also I don't know. My question that I would have asked yesterday might be different than today, so I'll just wait for today.
That's why I wait. That's why it's also why I never put Jesse and I'll never send questions to each other, because it's like it's going to be on this topic, and then we're going to talk. Bet. Ask me whatever you want, because it's never the same. Yeah. So like, I'm not like, people like 5-year goals and all that stuff. It's fine. They change all the time. But I would say, like, what's one thing in both of your lives right now that you really do want, but you're struggling to grasp, to make your own? Jill, you start.
Um, this is like, I guess, technically a 5-year goal still, but uh, getting out of my own business. Like, I love what I do for work, but finding a way to get out of my own business, if that makes sense, of have still get to help people how I want to, when I want to, but have people under me, have coaches, be able to work on social media, do more of the fun, and be able to like step out of my business versus like working in it as much as I do.
Okay, so when did you think of this as your 5-year plan?
Um, I don't know. I would say like last year I started
Yeah,
thinking of
like
hiring
the first
coaches.
time that it was brought up, I would say would have been around this time last year, I think, where it
It
was
would
just
have
like,
been around when I brought on Adam.
yeah, which was February.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
was kind of like a first step. I call him my manager. He gets mad. He's my manager. It's fine.
Yeah.
it's a fucking yeah.
He handles all the back end. He handles all the software, whatever. Um, that was kind of my first step was like, I need a better software. I need a better training app. I need someone to help take away the load of like, that's not actually coaching. So I would say like bringing on Adam was the first step of like, we need to be set here so that I have the groundwork to grow the way I want to.
I guess
But it's always,
I said 5-year plan. You said 5-year goal. So is it a 5-year plan?
I wouldn't say I have like a full plan. In effect, it was kind of like I said, Adam was the first step, and then it was like eventually I will hire coaches. Eventually, I will bring on.
And you have like all of that written down of like when you'll do it by, so you hit your plan at least by 5 years. You should send it to me. Can I read it?
Yeah, I'll send it to you tomorrow
Oh yeah, because it's done, right?
when it's written
Yeah,
down.
you're right. I thought so. So here's the fun part. Because like 5-year, what happens? Would you want it in 3 or is 5 what you want?
No, it would be lovely if it happened in next year.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So then I have a 2025 challenge for you. All right. First off,
Okay,
you're gonna get my book. In the book,
great.
you'll be able to actually put this into weekly activities. So it's no longer a goal, an idea. It becomes a part of every single day. It might be 10 minutes a day of doing things. It's probably stuff you already do, but it'll be just plugged in. And then now this goal, it's not even a goal. It's like, what are you doing? Like, let's say you were walking to Calgary right now. And like, if I just hit you up on a day, what are you doing? Just walking. I'm like, oh, great. That's great. Now, not just steps randomly, but in a direction. And you don't have to do anything different, same amount of steps you do every single day, but they'll all be so focused into this thing. And not only that, then you already can start to do the next part, which is like a dream of what happens after the end of the year. Like, oh, now I'm thinking about this next thing because this is done. When you plan it and you do your macro and micros, you can basically cheers and congratulate yourself before it's even done because you did all that little work beforehand. Now you just do stuff and you know that the thing's going to be finished. So we're going to have the plan done, but I want you to like maybe on one of your podcasts share your plan with folks so they can see
Okay.
how you can take like a goal / idea, turn it into a plan. Then you have all this extra space in your brain because usually when we have like a 5-year goal, it's that thing that just creeps up when we're sleeping or we have a little bit of spare time. Like, fuck, I want to get out of this thing. That's done. All of that thought's gone. It's already finished. You're just walking to Calgary. It's amazing. I love it. Let's make it happen. I'm here for you.
I was gonna say when you were talking about your book, like when you said your dreams aren't that far out of reach, or however you worded that, and then your book tells you how to get there. Like I think that's a missing piece of a lot of people's like motivational books.
Yeah.
It's like your goals aren't that far away. And it's like, cool. Are you gonna give me any help on how to make them less far away?
Yeah. Absolutely. 100%. But I'll even give you one before you buy the book. Just pick the date, would you? That's all I need. Tell me when you're out of your business.
Okay.
I'll wait.
I gotta think about it. Ah. Your turn.
Okay. Yeah, Ethan, what's the thing that's like it's a thing you think about, you want it. It could be anything, obviously, you know that. But like what's something that feels further away that you would like to be able to have yesterday?
Interesting.
Yeah, that thing, that one. Do that one.
Right now, it's currently something in modeling. I don't actually have an aim. It's because I do a lot with my body in pictures and in that realm. but the way that I get to hold space at these workshops, like I worked 12 hours the other day as a model, but I stood in with 6 different models and was shared tons of space, whether there was a touch boundary or not, and created lots of really great photos for these people that may have never worked with a man before or have trauma from being close to men. Whatever the fuck. There's so many reasons that I've got to hold really cool space with a lot of cool people. But in that, working with a new photographer, he's like, that you need to market this as something that you offer because of what I just saw. And it's a confirmation that I'm the same person everywhere I go. But what does that mean? What does that even mean? What does that look like? What can I do with my modeling? Yeah, hand up.
Yeah, you just described an intimacy coach, which is a job on all sets and on all theater places. There's an intimacy coach all the time, and it's someone who navigates those things between two folks who maybe have never met but have to be intimate, and like they don't necessarily know that there's triggering spots or what their touch zones are and all of that. And there's not a lot of intimacy coaches, and there's even less male intimacy coaches, and then there's even less black male intimacy coaches. So there's a huge yes, go.
That's funny because it's also a part of how I'm talked about.
Yeah.
The photographers that hire me to do this or bring me to do this are like, I do this because I'm a big black male and I'm aware that I am a big black male.
Wait, what does that make me?
A bigger black man.
Okay,
you're 6'4", nigga. Bro, come on.
What does that
You
mean?
are the extra large version of me. That's what this is. I'm large. You're extra large.
Every time we see you, Jesse, I'm like, I forget how large.
Yeah, that's
every time.
But in that, I'm also one of the safest spaces when in that setting outside of it, whatever it is. But to be the way that I communicate with other models is what I get fed back the most of me from photographers. Like you ask a checklist of questions that I don't hear from anybody else, is because how am I supposed to create a scene if I don't know what rules we're playing by? How am I supposed to create a safe space if I don't know what makes them unsafe? What feels unsafe to them?
It was one of the first things I said to you when you brought me to photo shoots for the first time. I was like, yeah, you got to get paid for this. Like, there's no way that you can interact and work with these females you've just met that have boundaries and have traumas and have stories, and you walk out of hours of navigating people unpaid. Like you gotta get paid.
So then there you go. There's an intrinsic passion that exists in you that you already have a skill set for. All that's missing in this scenario is just getting certified, which is very simple to do, so that you can actually invoice for what you do. You also get to charge more. So on a business level, and so professional passion follower style, right, on both sides. Yes, the thing, you don't have to rewalk. The path is created. Here's what you do. Then you can do it in more places than ever. And the cool part, you're like, yeah, I still want to act. We'll get to that. There's so many different doors into these things. So now you're walking into spaces you hadn't been before with different producers and different actors. And you're doing what you do and what you love. And you're bringing that to everything you do. It sounds like Q1, you go ahead and get an intimacy coach certification so that I can start hiring you, and so can so many other folks. And that's beautiful. So it's much closer than you think. It's literally that thing alone. More money in your bank.
So by 4/20 this year.
That has to be the date. Yeah.
Okay, that's what you're okay. So by 2025, I will have my intimacy coach certification.
It's not real. Put it in your calendar.
Well, I'm saying that for the camera so that because she didn't. I'm saying that I just don't have my phone on.
You just told on her because
I did. Fuck yes. You think I'm not waiting? Did you think, or did you just listen to me talk?
All right. Well then.
Excuse me. My phone's in my hand. Phone's in my hand.
Thank you.
My phone's in my hand.
Congratulations.
Thanks. Do you have a date to say to the camera to be held accountable?
No, I said I have to think about it.
And you're still sitting there.
How long do you have to think?
A long time. It takes me a long time to process. Ethan knows this.
Well, processing can happen later. All you gotta do is pick a date, then process how you get there.
Yeah.
Actually, by the way, you don't need a lot of time. You can just tell me when you'd like to do it. You said a year would be great. Perfect. So how about December 17th, 2025? How about you're out of your business before 2026?
Yeah, I think technically Ethan works for me. But that sounds weird. But you do.
I do. I've been saying that for a bit.
But I think even having like 2 coaches under me by the end of next year, so that it's like a step of I'm going this way.
Oh,
and
you
I'll,
are
like,
trying to.
oversee.
Why are you getting RBIs to first base? Hit a home run. What do you want? Don't pace yourself so that just in case you don't get there. No. That's not what we're doing. What do you want to be out of your business? What does that mean? You want passive income coming in so you don't have to be there? How many coaches is it 5? Are you out? Do the thing for real, not like a little bit of the thing.
Well, in my brain, like if I do it all myself currently, plus Ethan, then if I have like 3 people working in my business, they should be able to cover it all and some.
Okay, so 3, not 2.
Yeah,
Great.
yeah,
Okay, 3 by this time next year. Put it in your calendar. Would you mind?
on it.
Great. Yeah, and don't worry about the how-tos. That comes in the book.
We'll figure that out.
Yeah. Well, this is fun.
Yeah, this is what this was always going to be. Yeah, outside of that, tell us again the release date for The Art of Doing. Tell us what we can expect. Are you doing a huge release? Are you doing a signing? What is your whole plan? Do you have one?
Yeah. Yes. January 7th, 2025. It's available in all your major and minor bookstores. Indigo chapters, airports, all of that jazz. By the way, if you see the book and it's not on the bestsellers list, just move it over there and take someone else's book off. Thank you. So just January 7th, you can get it. I did the audiobook as well. So if you like that version, January 7th, you can listen to me talk to you. After that, I do start a little bit of a book tour. And that plan is being made as we speak. I'm starting, my first one will be in Kamloops. Then I'll do Vancouver. Then I'll do Edmonton and Calgary, and I'll go across the country. So whatever city you're in, I'll be there if you want to come hang out with me, and I'll sign some books and talk to you for a bit.
Super exciting.
Then I'll do an American tour after that, and then I'll head over to Europe after that. And that's the plan. Just going to, speak and talk about my book and hopefully help a person or two on the way. And that's the goal. I mean, if more than anything, I remember as a young kid I remember saying this even in high school. And I said I wanted to be famous, not to be famous, but I wanted to be famous because I wanted to have a platform so that I could actually help more people. Like I love what I was doing, but I want to do it in a bigger way. And so this is more of that. And I feel like I have a tool that really reflects almost everything I am in this one book. It's like your first album or whatever the case is. Like it's a life's work all put into one, which I can say I'm pretty proud of. Like I think it's really neat that I could encapsulate so many of the little nuggets that have helped me and that I've seen help other folks exist in one place. And so now I'm kind of on a mission to share that with as many folks as I can. And I'm glad that I got to do it with HarperCollins because like I don't think it would have been like that. It would have been the idea, but they're so good at what they do and working with their editors and their publicists and all that jazz. No matter what it is, it takes a team. And I got a solid team. I got a solid team of friends, support, which I really appreciate. And now hopefully I can help share it with other folks. And that's really special. And I'm excited.
Yeah, we are too. You can find Jesse again at the Lipscombe everywhere. Right, like really everywhere. You can pre-order The Art of Doing. I did that already.
We'll tag all his info in the show notes so that you have no excuse. You just gotta click a link. Easy peasy.
No excuses. Jesse, thank you for being here. Thank you for being a guest, for sharing your time, your stories, your wisdom with us. It's been an honor, as always, to just shoot the shit with you. I miss you. As always, fuck, you're going. Goddamn, so busy. But anyway.
Well, I miss you too. But hey, we got plans on the 3rd. We're going to Mimi's.
I was going to say, we're doing karaoke on the 3rd.
Yeah. Love you, brother. Love you, Jill. Proud of both of you. Keep on crushing. It's wonderful to be a fan and a cheerleader on the side. Keep on crushing.
Well, love you too, man. Super excited for you. Big things coming.
Awesome. Peace and hair grease.
Peace. I love you guys. Have a good one.